列车穿梭在城市之间，承载着离别与相遇。风景流转，时光推移，无论如何，它永远向前走，毫不犹豫。我是庄凯勋，这是我的列车人生。我第一部主演的连续剧，故事场景就是火车，那是关于一个年轻人寻根的故事。这次透过澳洲的火车旅行，我想重新思考自己的根，自己与家的关联。我现在就在墨尔本市中心王子桥上面。这次来澳洲呢，最重要就是要体验这边的火车。试着想象一下，在一个土地面积几乎跟美国一样大，可是人口呢只有2700万的国家搭火车，不晓得是什么样的感觉。不过听起来是不是连呼吸的时候都觉得空气的量变多了？在这么广阔的土地上搭火车，感受一定很特别。最棒的是，如果运气好的话，说不定我们可以透过火车的窗户外面看到袋鼠，那就更棒了。期待一下。在探索澳洲之前，我要先跟二花小姐碰面。她是台湾的作家，多年前移民澳洲。
海勋 ，Hello， 海勋吗？我是二花。
二花小姐你好。
你好，终于见到面了。
对啊。你来这边多久了？
我到这边20几年了。那这边这个是 Flinders Street Station， 对，是墨尔本最繁华、最忙碌的一个车站。
我听说。墨尔本被称为澳洲的咖啡文化中心，也是第3波咖啡浪潮的发源地之一。一闻进来就闻到咖啡的香味，
很香。对啊，这个就是墨尔本 CBD 最热闹的一条街，吃的、喝的还有咖啡，最棒的咖啡都在这里。
他们这边的咖啡文化，我还蛮好奇。
澳洲人很喜欢喝咖啡，那墨尔本是一个非常艺术的城市，所以他们就是非常着重在于发展他们的咖啡。Hi, good morning. How are you?
How are you? Hi, how can I get you?
So we're just wondering, what's your signature coffee here?
Yeah, our signature coffee is Melbourne Magic.
Oh,
Melbourne Magic.
Yeah.
And I also heard that flat white is pretty much an Australian thing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So what's the difference between Melbourne Magic and flat white?
Yeah, and Melbourne Magic is using the Lisbon shot, which is the strong one.
Okay.
And the flat white is just a single shot.
So what kind of black coffee you prefer?
We have a long black.
Long black?
Yes, it's an espresso with cold water. It's no milk, so you can taste it directly in the coffee.
I need it.
就是咖啡跟水。
我要。对。你来那么久，你有什么不习惯的地方？还是刚来的时候有什么不适应？
我们都说澳洲有5季，春天、夏天、秋天、冬天。
对。
还有一个多出来的季节叫做 BB 天。
BB 天。
BB 天 ，BB 是脏话，就你自己要逼掉这样子。
OK， 就是我今天穿的是按照这个晴空万里穿，结果后来可能就很 suddenly 就突然变成一个。
对，它可能突然就刮妖风，然后天气可能就气温骤降。
OK。还
会下雨。等一下我们喝完咖啡之后，我带你去看看，我们去参观墨尔本的旧监狱。这个旧监狱它大概横跨了澳洲3个非常重要的时期，是，所以我们顺便去感受，然后回顾一下澳洲的历史。这个墨尔本监狱啊，它盖在1841年，启用了6年里面呢，监狱已经人满为患了。再加上那个黄金的发现，让世界各地的人大量的移民进来。导致法律啊、秩序啊都很难执行。
加上又贫穷，然后缺乏社会福利，所以迫切的需要更大的监狱，然后开始来扩建扩张这样。
那时候刚好英国在经历工业革命的时候，那工业革命就是很多的机器开始取代了人力，很多人就失业，那没有工作，可是为了要养家活口或者是喂饱自己，他们其实去犯的一些罪，可能是太饿了去偷一条面包，或者是太冷了去偷一双靴子或一件外套来穿，可是还是犯罪，所以理论上是要关起来，但因为这样子的罪犯。小罪小犯太多了，英国本土的监狱已经关不下，爆炸。那时候刚好在澳洲插旗英国殖民，他们就决定把这些人送到澳洲。服刑期满，他们如果选择留下来，可能就会拨一块地，说那这里就给你
开垦，
对你去开垦，然后在这里落地生根。对，因为这一段历史，就觉得说澳洲好像都是罪犯的后代，但实际上不完全对，其实它更多的是像那时候大航海时代漂流过来的啦，或者是淘金热的时候过来的世界各地的移民。
其实第一代的移民，相较之下都是比较辛苦，他们生活条件比较艰辛，然后加上说，你看100多年前、200年前，没有像现在资讯这么流通这么快，对科技这么发达。都是好像未知的，他们带着一个很忐忑的心情来面对一个未知的未来，就很，我觉得是很茫然的啦。对啊，因为澳洲其实都是外来的移民居多，那我们家自己的状况，父亲也是从中部就是彰化，然后就离开他的原乡到台北来。对，那这在心态上，在那个年代也是某种移民吧，我想。因为他是算是劳动阶级的工人阶级的嘛，从小有印象回来的时候，他都是瘫在椅子上，或者是他是趴在他房间的地板上，因为他的脊椎有一节是凸出来的，就是骨质荷重的关系，所以小时候我们都要去练习帮他压他的背，然后你就会很明显听到那种归位的那种声音，他就是很认份，然后什么东西来他就承受，什么东西来他就承受，这样，对，然后会很心疼。今天我要开始火车的旅行，这次我计划搭乘2种列车，首先我要搭乘 Q Train， 体验澳洲南方海湾的风光。
Morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Q train.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Just this way.
Wait. Yeah.
Just coming through here.
Wow.
Welcome. And this is your table just here today.
Well, I'm looking forward to this trip.
Have you been looking forward to it for a while?
Because I saw the Q Train in YouTube.
Yes.
So this moment, my feeling is not unreal.
Well, hopefully we can just build upon that excitement today. You're in for an amazing day.
Thank you.
And I have the first course ready for you as well. I have our first course here for you, which is our Bellarine basket.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything in there is locals from the Bellarine.
Wow. Q Train，Q 列车是一辆移动的餐厅列车，它行驶在德莱斯戴尔和皇后崖之间。餐车上所有的食材都是在地农民提供的。沿途我看到清澈的天空，还有很大片安静的湖水。虽然整趟旅程只有短短3小时，但澳洲人把它当成文化，不只是个交通工具。我感受到 Q 列车是他们的骄傲，很像在用心呵护一个宝宝。Excuse me, may I come in? Yeah, thank you. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Kaiser.
I'm Julie.
Julie.
Gail.
Gail,
Graham Kaiser.
Graham?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So this is first time you ride the.
First time on the Pure
So enjoy?
train. Absolutely.
This was a surprise trip for Julie today. And
Wow, you're so sweet.
yes, yes, I had no idea. I'm saying, where are we going? Where are
Wow.
we going? So it was good.
So
yeah.
Julie got to do the ferry ride
Yes.
and then the bus to the train and then
Wow.
to enjoy this.
Wow.
The
So
train is
your
great.
family or friends?
No, very good
Long
friends.
time friend.
Long time.
From the 80s. Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
wow.
long time friends.
Wow, but I think you are family.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Good friends.
Very
Very
sweet.
close.
Yeah, yeah.
Decades.
Yeah. 这3个好朋友让我想到了我的小学同学，小杨，然后他到现在也是个爸爸了，从同学邻居到现在，就是大概参与了彼此30年的生命，所以很多荒唐的事情，但也一起成长。我还在当临时演员的时候，对，然后就会打给他，啊，麦公在谁啊？哎，我买了300块盐酥鸡啊，啤酒交给你这样，然后我们可能就提着，然后就到我们家后面的运动场，然后就坐在那边，然后我们就开始擦那个盐酥鸡，就你一句我一句这样的擦，然后啤酒就喝啊，因为离家里很近，所以喝醉就走回家就好了，这样子。我觉得在这个圈子越待越久，朋友会越来越少，因为到后来你也是自己也世故了嘛。然后你也知道很多事情，其实在情感的交流上没有像学生时代那么单纯，所以相对的很多你在自己的行业里面的那一些酸甜苦辣，你就会去跟不是这一行的人分享。那我那个朋友他其实就是这一号人物。Yeah, that's life. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. Friends, good food, and the good view, right? Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers. Nice to meet you guys. Cheers. Cheers. Yeah. 乔治亚在澳洲珀斯出生。小时候抬头看见巨大的飞机划过天空，开始对机械很感兴趣。7岁全家搬到维多利亚州，之后他加入 Q 列车，他是 Q 列车餐厅服务生，也是实习驾驶。Georgia, I really thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you've had a good day today.
So, how long have you been working here?
So I've been working here now for about 3.5 years.
Yes.
Starting out doing front of house, and then in the last year and a half, is when I sort of started to learn how to do all the stuff with all the locomotives and everything.
Okay.
So I'm currently the only active female trainee driver at the railway. Which is very exciting.
Wow.
My dad and my mum are very proud of me.
Yes. So finally, I wanna send you a gift. Are your
really?
cell phone beside
Yeah,
you?
I do. It's on me right
Okay.
now.
May I airdrop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
You like it?
I love it.
I like it. Another one.
Oh, they're all there. Hang on, give me a
Yeah.
second. There they are.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's my favorite.
You know.
Thank you.
其实我在遇到 Georgia 的时候，我蛮惊讶的，因为他很年轻，但是他很清楚自己要什么。因为就我自己而言，我并不是一开始就确定我要当演员的，我是真的接受了正统的戏剧教育之后，我才慢慢的发现，你慢慢的知道哦，原来为什么我要变成一个演员，因为我有好多话想对这个世界说，我有好多年轻人想完成的工作，然后我有很多的社会责任。乔治亚告诉我，有一位退休的列车志工，他是修复列车的幕后英雄，我想去拜访他。哇，很澳洲的水塔。Hello, Chris.
Hello, Coach.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah,
Welcome.
fine.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Hang on a sec. Need a toothbrush.
Attractive factory. Yeah.
Well, it's an old factory,
Oh no.
but there's a lot of work goes on here.
Yeah.
A lot of work
Yeah,
goes on
yes.
here. Would you like to have a look?
Yes, could you?
Yep, yes,
Yeah.
come this way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what we are doing here, we do restoration work.
Yes.
Restoring to be used again.
Okay.
Not going to be in a museum, it's going to be an operational museum.
Wow, smell good.
Yes. Yeah. All right, well, the bit of the brief history on the locomotive, it was built during the war by the federal government of Australia, along with there was 60 of them to be built. And they were designed to go right around the country. Any of the states that had a 3-foot-6 gauge railway, they got the locomotive. So some went to Queensland.
And you know, I rode a Q train, and I understand it is running on the Berlin Railway.
Correct.
And I really admire the preservation works of old trains.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of preservation work in everything.
Yes.
Yeah, so you even buy the carriages they use on the Q train, built the 60s.
Yes.
They still need maintenance. They still need to be repaired. They still need ongoing maintenance, basically. And this particular project is a full rebuild.
Wow, it's difficult, right?
Well, yes and no, but it's a lot of work.
So I'm curious, what's the reason and the timing made you interested in trains?
Yeah, I think that applies with everything in our. You look at people that restore old aeroplanes, old cars, old race trucks.
Yeah.
It's just a passion, but I think it's imperative that this survives, because if it all went and got cut up, it'd be nothing left. We'd had nothing to show our kids or our generations. This is what we used to do. This is how we used to do it.
Great.澳洲的葡萄酒业，它的细腻跟成熟早就已经举世闻名，而且葡萄酒呢，也已经成为了澳洲在国际上除了小麦、棉花跟羊毛之外最重要的一个象征。今天我们终于来到澳洲的葡萄园，而且恰逢他们的采收季节。噔噔
When we get them to the winery,
，Yes，
we'll turn them into wine. Beautiful red wine.
Here，
Yep, right there. And you didn't cut your finger.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Very small berries,
Yes.
perfect for winemaking.
This may I test.
Yes, oh,
Okay.
certainly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very sweet.
And juicy.
Lots of flavour.
Yes, yes, yes.
Australia's very unique, like every country is very unique, and our characteristics with the climate, soil, how we go about growing those grapes, making the wine, all that impacts on why our wines are different. They're very fresh, very varietal, fruit-driven, and they're very much made for having with food. So all that encapsulates what Australian, but they have this beautiful brightness of fruit.
Can you tell me more about your involved with the Q train?
Yeah, I love the Q train. Been on 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and always different. So we
Always
love
different.
being involved with the Q train. They support all the local produce and wines.
Yes.
So having our wines on there and them really promoting what's best in this region. The wines, the food, the people, the culture. It's just a fantastic experience. And people, just not Australian, but from all over the world, love being on that train.
接下来，我想要去拜访一家和 Q 列车合作的熏鱼店。听说老板娘莎拉对生活的美学很有想法。哇哦，好漂亮！这是鱼店吗？是不是来错地方 ？Hello。Hello。莎拉的产品提供给 Q 列车已经许多年了，她也创作了一种只在 Q 列车上供应的特别菜肴。
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm Kaiser.
Hi,
Nice
I'm
to meet
Sarah.
you.
Nice
Sarah?
to meet you too.
Okay. Wow, he's pretty.
Thank you. We love it. We love
Oh,
it.
so beauty.
Yeah, well, we love celebrating food and making food.
Okay. What is it?
This is a honey eater. So this is a beautiful mural by Terry Pollock. She's a local Geelong artist. And you've got a grevillea flower here, you've got the bee, and you've got the butterflies here.
I know you offer some delicious food and goods for Q Train, right?
Yeah, have you been on it?
Can you express to our audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we make beautiful smoked fish products, and the Q Train uses our products on a quarterly or throughout the year on their menu.
Yes. Can I try it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So this one is our smoked barramundi pate.
Yes.
Barramundi is a native Australian fish.
Yes.
And we've put Moroccan spice
Yes.
and our local smoked oil and za'atar with this. So it gives it a beautiful richness and depth of flavour. Please try.
这烟熏的味道。
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, delicious.
It's got the spices and the za'atar
Yes.
and the smoked olive oil. And we also have our whole trout.
Wow.
Rainbow trout, which are a beautiful fish. They have beautiful colours. See that's why it's called a rainbow trout. Being cooked on the bone gives it more flavour.
火车还是鱼店还是这个葡萄酒庄，他们3个人都跟我提到一件事：社区发展，带动地方。对，我觉得那个真的是匠心独具，而且其实有一点像演员的工作，就是你可以独善其身，但是当你今天有影响力的时候，是不是能透过自己的专业来做一些使上一些力量？他们身上让我看到的是这个，又是艺术家，也是有社会责任的人。澳洲有丰富多样的原生动植物。结束了 Q 列车之旅，我利用中间的空档，特地走了一趟墨尔本动物园，想亲眼看看澳洲的象征之一——袋鼠。哎 ，kangaroo， 你看。虽然还是很想要在澳洲这一片大地上面，他自己的栖息地，看到他们豪迈的往前奔驰，但是不知道，我们不确定后面在 Slow Train 上面有没有机会可以遇得到他们，所以先过来动物园看，起码不会有遗憾。今天我要搭乘另一部很不一样的列车 ，Slow Train， 慢速列车，从墨尔本一路往北300多公里，进入澳洲的内陆。慢速列车2020年左右开始营运，主要是为了活化铁路列车遗产，并向缺乏发展机会的偏远乡镇提供经济挹注。哇！哦，你看，都是旧车厢哎。传说中的 Slow Train， 你看这个木构的车厢哎。好漂亮哦！我天哪 ！Oh God， that's beautiful， 好漂亮！我天哪！ Oh my god！ 哇！哇！餐厅的部分在这边， 因为我是彰化人，所以爸爸在台北打拼，他18岁就离家。那我印象中是因为我们家有3个小孩，加上我妈妈、我爸爸，所以5个人要就是省吃俭用，在过年的时候买5张票，然后要返乡，然后再买票，再回台北。所以我们的小朋友都很期待，好像要去远足，要去旅行。可是我常常就会在很兴奋的时候看到父亲是有点沉默的。第一，可能是因为火车票其实不便宜，然后常常是你明明有票，但你不一定挤得上去。我爸爸看到那个车厢里面有空位，但是因为火车的门很小嘛，他看到那个有空位，他就直接就一拉开，然后他就爬进去，跳进去之后，他再透过车窗外面这样一只一只把我们这些小萝卜头拎进去。所以，我只要进入那个有历史性的火车车厢，我就会想到父亲的那个很复杂的脸，就是沉默，然后可能又觉得自己为什么没有更多的能力可以撑起这个家，让大家舒适的返乡。我想这个记忆非常深刻，然后那个情感连结就是在嗅到那个味道的时候就浮现出来，一直到我自己现在当爸爸了，然后我才知道说那种急迫想要归乡的感觉是什么。哇，我觉得在外面看已经很震撼，进来看更震撼。你看，全部都是木构的。我现在走这一条像不像电影场景？很像走进时光隧道，对不对？哇！在这种状况，这种车厢会让人家觉得好像在拍那个西部的拓荒者的那种电影，很有温度的车厢。然后窗户的外面就是一个那么现代的城市，你看，你看，柜子，每个东西都是木构的，不可思议啊，不可思议啊！你看，它的空间不大，但是它把所有东西、所有的结构都利用得淋漓尽致。你看，好典雅的柜子，你看，一个这应该是暖炉之类的吧，是不是？啊，水龙头，哇，哇！
Yeah, we're lucky. We've got, for lack of a better words, a moving museum of carriages from a lot of Australia's most famous trains. So carriages on here date from 1923 all the way through to more current.
这个房间，你在这边睡觉，你都会觉得很感动。今天跟明天晚上，我都会在这个列车上面度过2个美好的夜晚，然后透过我的眼睛，透过火车的车窗，我们去感受一下，澳洲这块大地真实的魅力。
Slow Rail Journeys 慢速列车旅游隶属一家铁路遗产组织。以前这条路线主要用于运输小麦，后来开始进行多元化发展，推出了透过火车运行的旅游产品。389公里的旅程，之所以要花3天的时间，主要是它会停留一些小镇，让旅客感受小镇的风光，同时也会因应地形或是调整时程的需要。 部分路段减速运行，真的是 Slow Train 慢速铁路之旅。
We just took a ball kangaroo, just spider. 有人跳过去，我刚才在叫你忘记声。 在澳洲那块土地上，第一拍就是，哇，就是大，真的是大，然后宁静，不被打扰。然后第二拍你静下来之后，你才会想，哇，我好小哦，你知道吗？就是那种这么浩瀚，你不要讲宇宙，你光一个澳洲就这么的浩瀚，那我们生活中那么多的不快乐，到底为了什么？有什么事情是不能过去的？很神奇耶，这个很像他们的移民的。对，就是你这个地方不是你的家，可是你来这里，你的兴奋，你觉得你来这里是安心的，你是舒服的，然后你想要告诉所有的人这件事情。Welcome to Australia! Woo!
皮昂吉尔是马利良区北部的一个小村庄，在这里啊，人口只有200多人。澳洲内陆为了储存小麦、谷物，许多地方设置了大型桶仓。这些小镇近年人口外移，逐渐没落。艺术家开始在桶仓上创作，画下属于澳洲人的记忆，形成桶仓艺术路径。游客会依循路径地图，造访各个桶仓艺术。
Name dog, right?
Yes.
You say name?
Jimmy.
Jimmy? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Jimmy, hello. Hello.
This silo for storing of grain from the farmers, bring it into the storage place here. Grain though for cereals, corn, wheat, sheep feed, export overseas and everything like that. It's all about the actual dog and his master. The master is actually the person that owns a dog. Yeah, the master dog and his master. And the master could be any person on a farm.
And people say dog is the best friend of human,
Yes,
right?
yes.
What changes has this art brought to the town?
It's actually brought a lot of tourists into this actually town. Beforehand, they wouldn't stop. Bus loads and things that come here now to have a look and get a photo of the actual dogs. And it's just a sad thing about all small country towns now is the fact that it's getting smaller. And it's just sad. It's really sad. We just love our little town here to be able to keep surviving, keep tourists coming and having a look and supporting our little town.
The silo art has become very popular in this part of Australia. The mural of the aviator. He was a famous aviator, George Allen, Urquhart Allen, who was a commander at the base, the No. 1 Flying Boat Repair Depot, and he was a very famous aviator in Australia's history.
最有感觉的桶仓艺术是原住民女孩的那一幅，那因为它很高， 真的保证现场看一定是震撼。那个小女孩是一个背影，对，她往前看，荡秋千也是往前荡的。其实我好喜欢这边的很多往前看的元素，包含狗狗也是往前看。二战那飞机也是一个昂首要往上飞行的感觉，所以就是 never be back 那种，就是它就是一直往前。看到那个壁画上面那个原住民小孩，他赤脚，然后你就会觉得他跟这一块土地的连接很深，那也会勾起我对澳洲这个地方的原住民的一些好奇。对，
澳洲原住民可能在大约6万年前就在这片土地上生活，他们的传统与文化是属于澳洲很重要的一部分。我去拜访附近一位原住民艺术家格伦达。
Well, the art I do has been handed down for generations. I watched my mum and my grandmother. They made feather flowers like those ones. And they did weaving, like the basket weaving.
Like this one?
Yeah. Okay, this is my great-grandmother.
Yes.
And my mum.
Yes.
My mum's sister. And all these little ones are all first cousins.
So many kids.
Yeah, so many.
This art is the best way to commemorate with your family, your mom, your grandma. Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's an important part of the storyline to be able to do this. It's really special. And it's like a memory for them. It's like the ancestors are still talking to us, you know, and they're handing this information on to us.
农民在土地耕耘，这是人与自然相处的一幕。对当地人来说，这更多的是一个坚韧不拔的故事。居住在马利地区的人们，比维多利亚州其他任何地方的生存条件更差，因为这里气候恶劣，物产贫乏，仍然保留着拓荒的氛围。
Look, a lot of these towns up here are very agriculture dependent, and as sort of younger people move towards the city, the income in these towns is sort of less and less. It's very much on the agricultural cycle. And what we've found is usually you can kind of say when the pub dies, the town dies. And that's a pretty good analogy. Because the social kind of heart of the town dies. And so we like to go in and, you know, we can diversify their economies a bit. We bring tourists in. We've got 87 people on this train. If we pay $60 a head for a meal or whatever, that's a big cash injection into some of these towns.
在这片土地生活的，不单是受到社会变迁影响的乡镇居民，我更想了解澳洲的原住民，他们的过去和现在有什么不同？
Hello, excuse me. I'm Kaiser. I come from Taiwan. And what's your name?
My name is Eva Jo.
Eva Jo. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and you?
Lexi.
Lexi. Nice to meet you. Yeah, so where you want to go?
Oh, we're going to Swan Hill.
Swan Hill?
Yeah.
You to travel?
Yeah, travel just to reminisce some of our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So may I have a seat?
You may have a seat.
Thank
Sit
you.
down.
Yeah, this is my first time come to Australia. Yeah. Because my godfather is Aboriginal in Taiwan. Yeah. They still have a beauty eyes and very deeply eyes and face and look strong. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Auntie Eva Jo 和她的姐姐带着我去看他们童年居住的老家。
it's really different now. Yeah.
Very different.
Yes.
不得不承认，澳洲今日的稳定和进步，有很大部分是牺牲原住民的土地、生存、权利和利益换来的。有段时间，甚至强行把原住民的孩子从父母身边、部落之中连根拔起，想借此洗白原住民种族。而这些孩子则称为被偷走的世代。
You know, after being taken away, you didn't get that. I was 5, you've got a 5-year-old, you know, and it's like, could you imagine your little kid being taken away from you and never to be seen again? Or, and I guess over 100,000 Aboriginal children have been removed from their families and were placed in institutions and foster care and even sent overseas. And each one of our stories is different, and each one of us are on a different journey, you know, in regards to what has happened whilst we were in these spaces. And this is just one of many Aboriginal children who, were taken on trains.
Yes.
So I'd like to read you her testimony and her story.
Yeah, thank you.
We were all dressed up and headed to the station, and this was the first time I saw a large steam train. We were surprised to see so many other children and women waiting on the platform. When my mother said it was time to board, we excitedly climbed onto the train, looking forward to a pleasant journey. With a sudden jolt and the screeching of the brakes, the rumbling of the steam engine, the train started moving forward. Suddenly I felt scared. Where's Mum? They kept telling us, Mum will be on the train soon. Outside the window there was many women standing on the platform crying, and then I saw my mum in her beautiful blue dress, standing next to my aunt and my grandmother. She was just standing there, tears rolling down her face, unable to wipe away. My mum waved a white handkerchief. I pressed my face as hard as I could against the window, watching her blue dress slowly become a tiny dot. It's a bit overwhelming, actually.
我是2个小孩的父亲，那哥哥已经7岁了，然后妹妹4岁。对这2个小孩来讲，我好像是一个一直在流浪的父亲，没有办法每天陪在他们身边。哪怕是我去中南部也好，还是出国，就算工作个1-2周，甚至2-3个月，然后他们都很难过啦。就是我女儿就是会直接爆炸哭，我儿子就是会很忍着把自己包进棉被里才哭，然后才被妈妈发现这样子。对，光是我的工作都会让他们觉得我是一个流浪的父亲的，那何况是被偷走的那个时代？如果是我，到底有没有勇气站在那个月台上？他们很多人是这样，就跟原生家庭就失去联络，然后一直到长大才会去追寻。所以当下听完的时候很难过，然后也觉得很悲哀。
澳洲有一首歌，许多人喜欢唱，它的歌词是 I am, you are, we are Australian. We are one, but we are many. And from all the lands on earth we come. We will share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australian. 无论是原住民，不同阶段各种族的移民，他们都是澳洲人。这片广大的土地是所有澳洲人的家。
这一趟离开台湾这么远到澳洲去，我一直以为我是为了要去找东西，要去寻找一些陌生的东西，要去寻宝。然后等到整趟旅程结束，我才发现那个宝一直都在自己
的成长过程当中，在自己的家里，这一次对我来讲，我会回来看说，对，别人是这样子爱自己的家，那我们是不是已经忘记了一些事情？我们总是想着自己没有什么，但是好像忘记看到自己有的丰富吧。